Welcome to the LetsRun.com post-meet Monaco Diamond League breakdown show. This is also our Friday 15 for our supporters club members. We got myself, Jonathan Gout, we got Robert Johnson, we got Weldon Johnson here to talk about 2025 Hercules, one of the best days on the running calendar every single year. I wouldn't say this is the best Monaco I've ever seen, but it was still pretty good. Noah Lyles is back, takes down Letsile Tebogo in the 200 in his first race in nearly 3 months. Emmanuel Wanyonyi runs 141 again to win a stacked 800 as Josh Hoey finishes second overall and moves to number 2 on the all-time U.S. list in the 800 meters. Yomif Kejelcha and Soufiane El-Bakali both went for really fast times in the 5K and the steeple. Both came up short, but both held on for a pair of well-deserved victories. And in the 1K, Nelly Chepchirchir of Kenya ran down Olympic silver medalist Jessica Hull to win, as Sinclair Johnson and Addy Wiley both ran under the previous American record. Wiley gets it. A lot of stuff to break down. I was going to ask which event should we start with first. Robert and I were debating 800 or 200, but I see we have a comment here from someone who coached 2 guys who both ran 142 today, Justin Rinaldi, watching live from Monaco. So I think we owe it to Mr. Rinaldi, who's now the coach of the second fastest American in history, to start with that event. Robert, how did you see this whole race break down? What were your thoughts?
Well, as my quest for my 3-hour marathon is getting started, I decided to kill 2 birds with 1 stone. So I was like, okay, I'm going to go to the health club and watch the beginning of the meet while I do my 3-mile run. And I never really tried to watch track on my little iPhone. It was working pretty well. And I was like, damn, they have the race. I go, this actually shows me what's wrong with the presentation of the Diamond League. It's just like, and the next event. And then Tim Hutchings like, this might be the greatest 800 ever run. And I'm like, exactly. This is everyone in the Olympic final, plus Josh Hoey and several others that weren't in the Olympic final. This is better than the Olympic final, and we're just casually going into it as the next event. So I was pretty excited. They're on the first event, and then I realized I'm getting text messages from you and our prominent coaching buddy, and I'm like, they're going to ruin it for me. They might be ahead of my broadcast. So I like jump off the treadmill, turn on Do Not Disturb, and watch the race. But
well, Robert, I'm going to jump in. That's on you. You shouldn't be going to first of all, you shouldn't be doing a 3-mile run at a health club. That's absurd. Just go outside like every other person on LetsRun.com. Number 2, you definitely shouldn't be going there in the middle of the Monaco Diamond League. So this is your own fault.
I didn't think that. I didn't look at the schedule to see what events would be first and second. Anyways, I thought that. I mean, Wanyonyi is amazing. He's obviously. I mean, he's the Olympic champion. We've never seen anyone, save for Rudisha, right, be as consistent as he is. He's so young. I think we all agree, like, he's probably eventually going to break the world record.
I think so. Robert, this was his sixth sub 142 of his career, which is 1 shy of David Rudisha's all-time record. Emmanuel Wanyonyi does not turn 21 years old until next month, officially. So he's going to retire with a ton of sub 142s. I don't know if he'll retire with the world record, but I think he will get it soon. And I think the thing about this race, and if you're going to get the world record, I think there were some smarter posters on the message board said it's probably not going to come in a race like this with 11 people. The 11 of the best guys in the entire world right now, all jockeying for position. It's probably going to come where you've only got 1 or 2 really elite guys. Well, you don't have to worry about fighting for position that first 200. And they can kind of pace it a little
fair enough, but
more
I
evenly.
thought the pacing, Rudisha, by the way, did set a world record like in the Olympic final with no rabbits, but I thought the pacing was fine. What I was surprised about was, I mean, what was hit, like the splits were like 49 and 114. How did that 600 split compare to Rudisha's world record split? Because
I think it was right around there. Rudisha was like, I think it was very, very close.
I was kind of surprised, like why he was way ahead. And I'm like, it's actually the opposite of what I get with NBC broadcasts. Like, to me, it was clear Yerry Goose was not anywhere going to break the world record because he was tired. Here, he was right on the split, right on the lights. he was way ahead of everybody at 600. And I'm like, why aren't they talking about the world record? And again, I'm bouncing up and down on the treadmill. It's kind of hard to say. And then I could tell Hoey was gaining on him. So I'm like, well, if Hoey's gaining on him, I'm assuming he's not breaking the world record. But he was pretty close to the lights and only like a half second off of it. But he just makes 141 look commonplace. So
yeah, Rudisha was 1:14:30 in 2012, and Wanyonyi was 1:14:87, and his finishing time was about half a second behind. So basically, he just got to 600 half a second slower, and his last 200 is pretty similar to Rudisha. I mean, I think if anything, I think two things cost Wanyonyi the world record. One, we're 2 months from Worlds. I don't think he's in peak shape yet, so he's probably going to have a better shot at it, a little later in the season. And two, he might have had to go just a little bit too hard the first 200. But I mean, it's a world record. This is the greatest performance we've ever seen in the 800 by Rudisha. So, you need everything to be perfect. You need an A+ talent on a great day. We didn't quite have that, but this was a really good run for him. It was an excellent run for Josh Hoey in second, and it was a pretty terrible run for Marco Rope in fifth. He went out towards the back, was lost to 200, still second to last with like 350 to go. And we did see this in the Olympics. The difference was that race was only 8 guys, and the field was a lot more closely bunched together. In the Olympics, A-Rob went 51.1, 50.1. He was only 0.8 of a second behind the leader, Wanyonyi, at the bell. Today, he went out almost identical first 400, 51.2, but he only closed in 51.5, and he was 1.6, 1.7 seconds or so behind Wanyonyi at the bell. Just too much traffic to navigate, too far back. Like, I think it's not always going to be a terrible idea from Europe to run from the back. I don't think he likes getting caught up in traffic, but it may have cost him the Olympic gold because he ended up running extra distance in that race. And today it cost him a chance of being competitive because he negative split this thing, but he still wasn't close to being competitive for the win.
Correct. I look, Wanyonyi, he's an A+ talent. He runs an A race here. Hoey, almost into the 141s. He's showing that indoors was not a fluke. He's a talent. He can race all the time and just keep getting better. He loves to race. Imagine if Athing Mu just race like this. But you see these guys getting faster and faster. I mean, Wanyonyi impressed us so much in that 1500 in Grand Slam track, but he was in 800 meter shape. He just keeps, getting better and better. Sujati Bull. But look, I don't want to be too negative, but I just couldn't believe how far back A-Rob is. Here we are, 250 meters. Those of you watching live. I mean, I took a screenshot. He was even farther back at like 200. Like it looked like he would just not. And I know that he did win a Worlds from coming from behind, but I was just like, dude, they're going to go for the fast time here. And you can't be gapped by 15 meters at the start. Now, I guess at Grand Slam track Philadelphia, Jessica Hull was in way last place in 800 and almost won that. So it is just about getting to the finish line as fast as you can. But I don't know, man. It was disappointing to see him in this race. Just go if he wants to try to go from last to first at Worlds, that's fine. But when it's a time trial at Monaco, I was just stunned by his tactics.
Yeah, and the other problem is, look, the guy you're going to have to beat, Wanyonyi, okay, maybe he's going a little harder than ideal that first 200, but once he's in the lead, he's just running on the rail. He's got a free run. He's running the least amount of distance. He doesn't have to worry about dodging anyone. That's the guy you're having to run down. Like, you have to run your second lap a second faster, a second and a half faster than Wanyonyi, and you got to run extra distance to do it. That's just a Herculean ask. And I know A-Rob has beaten Wanyonyi in the past. I'm not saying he needs to totally abandon, his tactic of coming from behind, but I don't think it was the right one for today's race. All right, Weldon Johnson is a member of this show. We haven't heard from him yet, but I assumed you watched this 800 as well, Weldon. Do you have any thoughts?
Thank you, John. I was not watching it on a treadmill. I was shocked it was so early in the program. I had not checked the program myself, and I figured this would be last, or maybe Tebogo. I think Tebogo versus Lyles maybe last, but I don't know. Sometimes you have a fabulous entree at the restaurant. Appetizer. Look, A-Rob it was just like inexcusable. 25-6, 51-2. Like, what's he gonna do? Negative split? Negative. He negative splits. He still could lose this thing, right? I mean, well, I don't know what he's thinking. He's too far back. I understand with this field, there's 11 guys. You're thinking, I don't want to get caught up in the mix early on because Hoey ran 142.01 and he had to hit the brakes about 200 meters in. Like he was in position, then guys cut in him, and so he lost some momentum. It was not a perfect trip there for him. So this doesn't mean much to me for A-Rap. Wanyoni's definitely the favorite for Worlds, and Josh Hoey's definitely the favorite in the United States. I think you have to say that now. I mean, now Hoey going through the rounds at USA's is very different. Hoppel's very good at that. There's some other guys. That'll be a new test for him. But like he's consistently shown he's a level above Bryce Hoppel, I think. And I mean, this was the Olympic final from last year, plus Hoey, plus who? Like, I don't know who the other guys were. I'm thinking there's someone else good in there who wasn't in the Olympic final last year, and he just beat them all except for one guy.
Yeah, Peter Boll, who's been running well.
Yeah, and Justin Rinaldi's on. Do we have Justin's email? We could send him a link to join on. Maybe he should join us. That dude deserves major props. He was the coach of Bowl, who set an Australian record, 142.55.
Took more than a second of the Australian record. This is the second time he's broken it this year.
What time is it in Australia? People are flipping out in Australia right now.
Look, Rinaldi, I mean, what he's done in the 800 is insane. He loves the event. He's got Hoey. But Hoey is the best thing that's happened to Marco A-Rob. Because, John, when you wrote that feature on Josh Hoey, thousands of words, it was clear to me. What?
To Bowl or A-Rob?
Excuse me, to Bowl. Jonathan Gault, if you guys don't come to the website, let's run a big feature on Josh Hoey and where he came from. And when you were talking to Coach Rinaldi, it was clear that, like, you know, Hoey was sometimes in the past and even this year doing too much and wanting it too bad and running his easy days too fast and just wanting it. You can want it too much. You can race your workouts and you're doing the wrong thing. But he has a passion and a desire to be great. And it was clear that Rinaldi, in a nice way, was saying that Peter Bowl did not. Like, he has to drag him to the track. He has to urge him to the track, to beg him to go to the track. And I think Bowl, I don't know, maybe he's healthier this year, but I also think it's a wake-up call. Like, hey, look at my coach. He gets this other guy that's super motivated, and look at what he's doing. Maybe if I was a little bit more focused and a little more into it, I too would be great. And he is having a resurgent year this year, 142.55. So
right. I mean, Bowl, honestly, after last year, I was kind of like, okay, Peter Bowl, he had a good run, but this might be it. You know, he didn't break 145. He's turned 31 in February. Most 800-meter runners aren't relevant after their 30th birthday. You know, it's the exception, not the rule. But I also think, you know, he had that EPO case hanging over his head the last couple of years, and he did eventually get cleared to compete. And, you know, they said, hey, we shouldn't have reported this as a positive and, you know, all of that. But now he's come back on the scene. He's running faster than ever. It's pretty crazy. I mean, this guy was fourth in the Olympic final back in 2021, but I didn't have him, you know, I didn't have him down running 142. But I think if you watched how he ran in Ostrava a couple weeks ago, you know, he ran 143 and it looked really comfortable doing it. So I wasn't surprised to see him run 142. In terms of the US scene,
what?
Hoey has to be the favorite now at USA's. Him and Hoppel were close when they raced in Paris a couple weeks ago. So I don't think he had definitively, and they raced in Stockholm as well, but Hoppel was like stomach cramps or whatever. Like that, I don't really count that one. This race.
Wait, where was the other one?
The other, Hoey was in Stockholm as well. Or am I getting it confused with Oslo? I think they were both in Stockholm, and Hoey was third in that race, but Hoppel was way back because he, you know, had these stomach issues or whatever. So I throw that one out, and then they're close in Paris. But today, Hoey definitively beat him, and he ran a time that Hoppel's only beaten once in his career in the Olympic final last year. So I think it sets up a fascinating matchup because the field is going to be competitive at USA's. It won't be quite as deep as it was today, but I think we generally know how Hoey likes to run. He likes to run from the front. So I expect him to go out and try to control the USA final. And then you're going to have, Hoppel and Brazier and Brandon Miller and maybe Jonah Koech all fighting for sort of that second position behind him. And I wouldn't rule out like one of them swinging by him. But right now, Hoey's been the best 800 guy in America this year.
Yeah. I mean, I think that the thing that's, if you're a Hoppel fan, what's concerning for him is he ran 143.26. In Doha on May 16th, and then 143.11 in Paris, and then today he's running. No, I say just he's running 143 every time. It's not like he's running bad. He's just Hoey's down now to 142 flat. So, I think that if you're Hoppel, you're not excited to be seventh in the world when you're fourth at the Olympics, but it's not terrible. And we may have been too harsh on A-Rob. I mean, as fans, we want to see one of the world's greats get up there and go for it. But we still have 2 months to Worlds. They start September 12th. And, what do we see in Grand Slam track? Like 800 fitness and 1500 meter fitness are not the same. And A-Rob's 1500 meter fitness just got better and better. 339, 335, 335 low. 6th, 7th, 4th. He was right there with the best 1500 meter guys in the world in Grand Slam track Philadelphia. And now every time he's run the 800, he's run faster. 145.1 in Kingston, 143.6 in Miramar in Miami, 143.3 in Philadelphia. And then today he runs 142.7. So, as fans, he didn't do it, but he's probably thinking, hey, I'm right where I'm fine.
I think he'll be there at Worlds, but the worrying thing if you're an Aroke fan is look at Wanyoni. He's doing the same thing. He ran 145 or 146 in Kingston, and then he comes down and runs 143, then 142. Now he's gone 141, 141. He's gotten faster every time out as well. And right now he's ahead of Aroke. So you have to close that gap, which isn't going to be, it's possible, but it's not going to be easy. All right. I think that's going to do it for the 800. Yeah, I don't have a whole lot else to say. I mean, Sajadi, bronze medalist in the Olympics, he was third here. But I mean, for Hoey, the other takeaway is, look, you went up against, these are all the guys you're going to face in the World Championship final. Maybe we'll see what Brazier's capable of if he can get back to that level. But like, these are all the contenders from last year, and you just got second. You're going to come away. There was a point on the home straight. Tell me if you guys had this thought too. I thought, oh my God, Hoey might run down Wanyonyi. Like I thought for a second that he might be making up ground, and then he just, he didn't quite have it. But Weldon, did that enter your mind that Hoey could win that race in the home straight?
Now that you say it, I'm like, wait, did I think that? It might have been like the thought might have been starting to enter my mind, and then it quickly went away.
Yeah.
Back to this Hoey Hoppel thing at USA's. I'm not saying I don't have any concerns about Hoey. Like, I don't know how he'll do in a more of a tactical race or when he has to do all the leading. Now, we kind of saw that at World Indoors, and he barely won, right? They don't have the pressure of having to make the World's team. So it's not like, and some people here are commenting on his style. It does not look like David Rudisha. It does not look, it's smooth. Like, there's not a lot of bounce. He's obviously very efficient when he runs, but it looks kind of ungainly. And so, like, but is that, the way the 800s run, I think he's getting a better concept of pace. There isn't something like huge change of pace that he needs to be able to handle or something. But Hoppel, I think, will know how to run, sitting on Hoey essentially. So I'm not, there was some concern from Robert, like, you worried about Hoppel. I'm not at all. He's consistently running 142. Right?
Well,
143. Or better.
He's consistently running 143, but that might not be enough to get you on the team this year. I mean, the level's gone up in the US. I think he'll make the team, but it's going to be a really tough team to make. And the other thing I would say about Hoey, okay, I guess like if it's a tactical race, maybe you get a little bit more concerned, but the beautiful thing about the 800 is if you don't want it to be a tactical race, you just get to the front and run faster than everyone else. And he can do that. He did it at USA Indoors. There was only 2 rounds instead of 3, but he ran 1:43.2 in the final there. We did see it World Indoors. Now it was 3 rounds in 3 days. USA's is going to be 3 rounds in 4 days. He did run out of steam a little bit in the final, but I have less concerns tactically just because he's a front runner and he can control these things.
I get that, but controlling as World Indoors, he was the champion. But I think controlling USA's will be harder to win than World Indoors. Can I say that? I think the talent's better. The way things are now. Who am I? Am I evaluating? Am I underestimating World Indoors too much?
No, I think that's a fair assessment. Also, we got a question here. All in the game. Should Brazier race against before USA's? I'm in the firm opinion of yes, and he will. He's running the 800 in London next week.
Wait a second. Guys, I completely forgot about Donovan Brazier. In my head, I'm going Jonah Koech, Brandon Miller. Oh my God. This is going to be so epic. Like, the gift is back. Oh, wow. Yeah. Everybody better be ready. I think this might be better than the 1500 to USA's. Or just as good.
It's going to be great.
Wow.
Okay.
So good. So good. I can't believe Christmas has come and I've forgotten. Unbelievable. He needs to race one more time before USA's for sure. That's for Brazier.
Yeah, Robert, we can't hear you. We can't hear you, Robert.
It's going to be amazing, by the way, folks. If you go to the homepage, the results have been compiled. You can find all the results. I always try to make it easy for you. So you have to click on 100 links. Go to letsrun.com/ just go to letsrun.com. But no, I'm least worried about Hoey. I'm not worried about the tactics. Like, he's going to go to the front and he's just going to, guys, there's going to be, it's going to be like a guy with a 100-mile-an-hour fastball that doesn't have any other breaking balls. Here it is. Try to hit it. We know what he's going to do. So, but I think he's fit enough. There's no way that 3 other people beat him. Assuming he doesn't do something so stupid on the pacing. But I think he's got a pretty decent sense of pace. And then I certainly could see Brazier beating Hoppel. I could see Koech beating Hoppel. So I don't think any of these other guys are locks. And at the end of an 800, a lot can happen. But it's going to be, it is going to be amazing. The 1500 is going to be amazing. Whatever. But we can't just talk about the men's 800.
Well, we can't. There's no men's 1500. I think that's kind of what's expected for us. That's a joke, people.
Yeah, no, well, that's what happens. Monaco is the meat of the men's 1500, and they didn't have it. The star middle distance race was the men's 800, so that's the one we spent 20 minutes talking about it. I enjoyed it.
And Brazier, talking about needing one more race. The level has been raised so much. So Brazier's at 143.81 this year. Miller's won 143.5. Koech 143.3. And then Hoppel 143.1. And Hoey now, a full second ahead, 142. Brazier's got work to do. And I think also you now start having question marks about Koech.
Oh yeah, I meant the Texas agent. He's disappeared. He hasn't raced in 6 weeks. Where's the guy been? So you stop racing right before USA's, I start to get worried. So I'll see if I can get an update maybe for next week. But that's certainly concerning.
It's certainly concerning. I hope he's not injured, and I hope it's not a positive. But you can't go from May 31st to USA's without racing, particularly in 800. Athing Mu needs to get out there and race her butt. Donovan Brazier needs to get out there and race. And so does Mr. Koech. In case you've already forgotten, Jonah Koech, 143.32. PB in Nairobi. He won the Rabat Diamond League in the 1503. Remember, we thought 331 was good. All right. This probably wasn't the biggest event, but we talked about, did you think someone could win in the last 100 meters? The men's, I guess all of the men's distance events, men's 8, men's steeple and men's 5,000 were all similarly run. Someone got out to a huge lead, and then the lead became much smaller before the end of the race. Became drastically smaller in the men's steeplechase, and actually became negative at one point. And the men's 5,000, we'll talk about that too. But Sofiane El Bakkali, the double Olympic champion, one of the fastest men in history. I'm trying to find a 2K split. Was it 5:17?
Yes.
So he goes out in 2:37, 5:17. No one's close to him. He's gapped the field. And, you know, this is about, I'm getting ready for the live stream, writing graphics. I've got it on mute. I look up and they do the NBC on the broadcast. On the international feed, they do what NBC does. They go to a tight focus on El Bakkali in the final 200. And I'm like, my God, he looks like he's barely moving. It looks like he's standing still. How far ahead is he? And then finally, you can kind of see some people in the background. And there's this Japanese dude. And I'm like, oh my God, he's going to catch him. I mean, those of you watching live, you can see how far ahead he was entering the bell. He probably had almost had half a turn lead. But Muhuri, John, is that how you say it?
Ryuji Miura. I mean, Robert, I'm losing my mind watching this broadcast because I've written a column earlier this week saying NBC has a problem. They zoom in on the leaders too much. They don't show the wide shot like the world feed. And then for this race, they're zooming in, but what they've got in the bottom corner is the live standings updating with the gap of how many meters back everyone is from the leader. And Miura, it's like 25. And then immediately starts going down to like 24, 23, 20, 17, 12. And
the
Tim
only time in history
like, closing the gap. And I'm like, wow, it's very helpful to have this graphic that's telling me how far he is back. But it would be even better if you just panned the camera out and showed me him erasing this deficit. So yeah, they finally, we see him in the water jump. He comes off and he's right there. And El Bakkali kicks into gear coming off the final barrier, digs deep, summons a kick. Like, it was impressive. But oh my God, whoever was directing that race needed to pay attention. Like, look at the screen. Look what's going on, people.
Yeah, I've always said, the graphics to show you how fast they're running, and the gap is so stupid because we can see it. This is the only time in history that graphic was actually useful. But what was crazy was and then I went back and watched the whole lap and listened to the commentators and stuff like that. They're like, oh, could he catch him? I'm like, yeah, he's gonna catch him. He caught him before the last barrier, goes right by him, but then it was just like El Bakkali's like, I've got some pride here, I'm gonna kick it in. And because Muhuri still had a great last lap, but El Bakkali just like, oh, it was like a high school race. Oh, I've got more in the last 50. I'm going to start running again. They both run 8:03. 8:03.18 for El Bakkali. Ruhi Mihura, the Japanese record holder. I mean, he's a stud. Like, let's don't act like this is a shock. I mean, it was almost a shocking Diamond League victory for a Japanese guy, which has obviously never happened on the track, I don't think. But
I think one of the hurdle. You don't think one of the hurdles has won a Diamond League?
No, not in a distance
I feel like
race.
maybe in the 110. Yeah, in the distance race. No.
He's, in case you're unfamiliar with him, he's 23. He's run before today 8:09 in 2023. So he actually got second in the Paris Diamond League in 2023, but that was an 8:09 race. But like a lot of Japanese guys, he's kind of an age group ace. Like, some of them developed quite well. He also ran 8:09 in 2021. So he was still 19 years of age at that point. So 8:09 at 19, 8:09 again at 21. And then he's been running 8:10 last year, 8:10 this year, but all the way down to 8:03. He's got good speed, particularly for a Japanese guy, 3:36. And I'm kind of stunned. Honestly, as bad as El Bakkali looked, like he was barely moving, I'm kind of shocked that he was able to just summon that last 50. But it was kind of a fun race. But behind them, there was a PB. I've got good news for American distance fans that were at work and didn't watch this one. There was a PB for a U.S. Olympian. Probably the most unheralded of the three U.S. Olympians, right? Matthew Wilkinson, 8:10.23, came in with an 8:11.11 PB. So that places him 9th. So this was a fast race. I mean, despite the fact that El Bakali was way, way ahead, it just shows you the gap. He must have been on, 7:55 pace entering the bell. These other guys are on like probably 8:08 pace. And then Murray kicks it in, runs 8:03. But
yeah, 8:03 is not indicative of his fitness right now because he went for the world record. And what happens when you go for the world record and you're not quite fit enough to run it is you're going to slow down quite a bit. So that's what happened to him. But he's the favorite right now. We'll see. I mean, Goma ran 8:07 in his first race back. So looks like he's getting back into form, but he wasn't in this race. What continues to strike me as just crazy is the lack of the Kenyans in these races. We did have some in here, but there was one Kenyan in the top 11 places in this race, Edmund Serem in 3rd place. And if you look at the world list in 2025, of the top 7 guys, Serem's the only one in the top 7 who is Kenyan. This used to be an event where Kenya would dominate more than basically any other country dominated any event for decades. And now it's El Bakali, it's the Ethiopians. I mean, the top 7 right now is Morocco, Germany, Japan, Kenya, Ethiopia, Morocco, Ethiopia. It's kind of great. I mean, there's Kenyan in 8th, but it is kind of wild. Really bad race for Kenneth Rooks, the Olympic silver medalist, 15th place, 8:28, just was never in it. His first race over in Europe last week, he ran a 3:41 in France for 1500, which is also not good, but generally he's just a lot better at the steeple than any other event. So I wasn't that worried. His coach Ed Eystone said he was in really good shape. So I don't know if maybe there's something just up with him because his training partner James Corrigan ran 8:14, and that, for Corrigan that's fine. That's right off of his personal best. And then the other guy who didn't run well is Frederick Rupert of Germany, who was close to El Bakali when they raced earlier this season in Rabat, ran 8:01 there. He was 14th in 8:24, but he fell within the first 100 meters. Not even over a barrier. He just got like tripped up, or I don't know what happened.
People should call back the start. I saw some like tall random white dude like 50 meters behind. I'm like, why don't they call back the start? So yeah, disaster for Rooks. And I on a concern level, I mean, I trust Ed Eystone. He says he's in good shape, but this is 2 bad races in a row. I'm sorry. If you're an Olympic silver medalist, you can't be running 3:43 and a 1500.
Well, 3:41 is what he ran, but yeah, not great. Yeah, this event's kind of crazy right now. I think it probably will just come down to El Bakali and Goma like it often has, but I'm not writing. Rooks has already run 8:14 this season. I'm not writing him off after a bad race. I think he'll rebound at USA's. We've seen his ceiling. He's still pretty young. I think this is a bad race. I'm not concerned long term. But silver medal, repeating that is going to be tough because it's just a really hard thing to do. But I don't think he's in 8:28 shape right now.
I mean, he's definitely not in 8:28 shape. Like, I mean, we see races essentially once a month and every couple of weeks since he ran 8:14. This is a bad race, but it's sort of crazy, right? We still haven't wrapped our head around him being the Olympic silver medalist, and now we're like, wait, is there a chance he doesn't make the team? I mean, these two, 8:10 and 8:14 for these 2 other guys is pretty good. So I fully expect him to make the team. He shows he knows how to do it in championship races. Rooks did not fall, right? That was not him.
So Monaco on YouTube, did Rooks fall going over a water jump? I thought they showed 2 guys going down in the water after the race. I'm pretty sure he didn't fall because I'm looking at his. Well, if he did, it would have been in the first 1,000. His places in the race on the Diamond League website. So he was 10th at 400, 12th at 800, then 16th, 15th, 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 15th. So he stayed in next to last place the entire race. So I guess it's possible he fell between 800 and 1,000 on the second water jump.
Yeah. All right. I don't know how we've gotten over half an hour into this without mentioning Noah Lyles and Letsile Tebogo. This was one of the races of the regular season. Olympic
So
champion
what?
versus
You
Olympic
you hyped
champion.
this race up. Why was this race better than the men's 800? I guess you
Well,
had
the race, the way
you
the
had
race
two.
played out, it wasn't. But why was I as excited about it going in? These are two of the biggest stars in all of track and field. Wanyonyi and Lyles are both bigger stars than anyone in the 800, and it's not really that close.
Wanyonyi and Lyles?
Sorry, not Wanyonyi and Lyles. Tebogo and Lyles are both bigger stars than anyone in the 800. It's Olympic 100-meter champion versus Olympic 200-meter champion. And it's Lyles' real first race of the season. He ran a 400 in Florida, but that's basically it. So I think it was a reason to hype this thing up. And okay, it wasn't the fastest race ever, but it was fun. Like going down the home straight, I kept waiting for Tebogo to move that last 50. I'm like, he's in striking distance and here's where he can take down Lyles. It never happened. He didn't, maybe he was tired from the travel from Eugene, but he didn't have that last gear. I mean, basically Lyles showed up and did his job. He ran 19.8 for his 200 opener. That's good, especially with a 3-month layoff. He had a little bit of a foot issue. Tebogo was not close to his best because you just look at the gap from him to everyone else. He beat Chiramba from Zimbabwe by 0.02. He ran 1997. Like, that's not close to the level he was at Prefontaine. So it was a down race for Tebogo, solid opener for Lyles. I expect more from both of them to come.
You guys have been consulting a betting friend of ours. Who was the betting favorite in this race? Because right when they were on the start line, I thought to myself, I know Tebogo's the Olympic champion. And he's the only guy I've ever seen come back on Lyles in the final 100 of a 200. But I think Lyles is still better at the 200 at this stages in their careers. It's his first race, but I don't think he flies over to Monaco unless he's pretty confident. So I was kind of thinking Lyles is going to win this race. So who was the favorite?
Tebogo. I mean, Lyles hadn't raced the 200 since last year's Olympics. Tebogo was coming off a world leader last week. I think he was right to be the favorite, but I think anyone who said that Lyles couldn't win hasn't paid attention to Noah Lyles' career.
He only loses the 200 in the Olympic final.
I just love that there's no soft openers or anything. I mean, maybe you want to call the Tom Jones meet in April a soft opener or whatever, but after his injury, he doesn't tune up or anything. He's just like, no, heading on a plane, going to Monaco. I'm facing the very best guy in the world in this event, and I'm going to beat him. That's Noah Lyles. You know, he put him on the big stage. He usually delivers. I love that he went there. I love that he had no fear of going up against Tebogo his first race back, and he beat him. That's why he doesn't have any fear.
Now, I only really watched the race. I didn't watch the pre and post race. It didn't seem like there was very much preening or the drama that we normally get in these events.
Tebogo is not a very, drama guy. He's not going to have this whole big pre-race thing. And when they did the introductions, this is rare for a Diamond League that they even would hold them in a sort of on the side before the race. Usually they just go out to their lanes and they introduce them in the lanes. This one, they did the little light show thing. Lyles made sure he was the last guy to enter the track. He was jumping up and down, getting the crowd pumped and everything. It didn't seem like he had anything elaborate on the start line, but it's also a regular season meet in July. It's not the world final or anything. So it was fine.
I thought it might seem more of a celebration. He just seemed kind of very businesslike, right?
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
Yeah, I think these two must respect each other. There was like no reaction from really either one of them. And coming in, Tebogo was a 65% favorite. Lyles was at 40%. So pretty significant advantage there for Tebogo. And I mean, you just got to tip your hat to Noah Lyles. Maybe we should have known, right? I don't care what he's getting paid to show up at this meet, and I assume it was a ton. He's not going to show up if he's not ready. He's not going to race Tebogo if he's not ready. But
Well, right.
a lot of guys would need some sort of tune-up. He hasn't raced in 3 months, almost 3 months.
And I don't know why we thought that. Well, admittedly, I wasn't helping you guys analyze this for the gambling syndicate that you guys help with, but it just Tebogo to me is inconsistent. He races all the time. I know the 1976 was a lot better, and you can't really fake it, but that was with a positive tailwind. And before that, he had run 10:43 and hadn't broken 45 in the quarter this year. He hasn't broken 10 in the 100. So I just was kind of thinking, okay, 19.7 is probably about as good as we're going to get from him. Plus, he's got to do it back-to-back weeks. I mean, not even a week later from pre. Whereas Lyles always runs 19.7. And this event.
Well, Lyles ran 19.8 today.
Into a headwind.
Fair point. Anyway, good race for Lyles. I think like I said, I think there's more to come from both of these guys, but I'm just glad that Noah Lyles is healthy and racing again. He will be in London in the 100 next week, and then we'll see what he does at USA's. I hope he runs all 3 rounds of something. The last time he had the bye in 2022, he had the bye in 2023 and he ran the 100 only because he had the bye in the 200. But in 2022, he had the bye in the 200 and still ran all 3 rounds at USA's and beat Knighton in his great race. So I hope that he does that at USA's this year, but I don't know what the plan is right now.
Okay, what about here in the comments? Spider-Man says, Tebogo choked. Stop sugarcoating. Can I argue that the stage got to the Olympic champion? Maybe. I mean, I think he felt pressure in a race for the first time. But then also you can go back to Robert's argument. There was a decent amount of break from like when he last raced until before pre. So he comes out at pre and runs well. But like up until that this year, it's been a bit sporadic. He won the 200 in Doha, but that's 20.1. His hundreds have been pretty bad this year. So we're not at peak Letsile Tebogo right now.
No, he was dealing with an injury early in the season. He admitted it. He had a recurring hamstring injury. It became an issue in Rabat. That was the one where he was supposed to run the 100 and 200. He pulls up basically at the end of the 100, doesn't run the 200, and then took like a few weeks off to heal it. So that was not 100% Tebogo. And clearly he came back and ran really well his first race back, 19.7 in pre. So I don't know if that aggravated or anything, but I would suspect that it was more just doing a really fast race on Saturday and then flying halfway across the world and running again on Friday. That might have something to do with like he's not running quite at the same level. That would be my guess, at least.
I think you guys are just being too harsh on him. If you factor in the wind, he ran a 1982 at pre and a 1992 today. Wasn't that much worse. So, and ironically, if you factor in the wind, so yeah, I guess he could have won it, but Lyles' time converts to a 1982 in Eugene. I mean, and to a 1983 with no wind. So the best performance of the 3, if you're factoring in wind, was Tebogo at pre. It would be 1982. Lyles says 1983. And then it was 0.1 off. I thought he gave it a good run. He tried to get. I thought he had a better start than Lyles. Lyles got ahead, then he tried to come back on him, and the comeback wasn't there. All right, but look, we were harsh on A-Rop, but there's no way that I can't be harsh on Gout Gout. I don't care if this guy is the next future star. I don't care if he's the next Usain Bolt. And I get what the agents are doing, but they're trying to protect him and do the right thing and not put too much pressure. But I'm the voice of the fans. Let'sRun.com. No one stands up for the fans. I've always thought we have, in the NFL and stuff, there's a players union. The players, Major League Baseball, the athletes, they have a union. I've always said I should go back to Cornell, go to the Cornell School of Industrial Labor Relations and learn about labor unions, starting labor unions for the fans. No one cares about the fans. This was an absolute joke that Gout Gout was in a under 23 pre-program. This is a 20.02 guy. They're hoping that he breaks the Australian record. Why in the hell couldn't he have been in the race with Tebogo and Lyles? Like, don't tell me, oh, it's too much pressure. If you want the fame and the money of going to Monaco and the big Adidas contract, then run with the big boys. If you want to be babied, then go to college or do something like that. But I don't want you to have your cake and eat it too. Absolute disgrace that they allowed him to run in under 23, 200 when you've got this race. If you wanted to break 200, 20 in the 2, he should have run in this race. Fair foul.
Foul, Robert. He's 17. I'm just not going to go on this show.
Okay, then don't go to Monaco.
I agree with Robert 100%. He could have raced the 2 greatest 200-meter runners right now in the world and gotten a great stage and a great lot of fans. Instead, there's some pre-meet. I think a bunch of 1,000 meters are being run or something, they said. Like, I didn't even know he ran until now. Like, this is crazy. So I guess he ran 10:47. The main meet started at, it was right before. So it was the race right before. But no, put him in the main race. Sorry. We don't need B events at Diamond Leagues. I'm sorry. Even the international miles, sorry, scrap it. Have a day before or something. Like, don't waste our time.
I love how John's like, I'm not gonna criticize a 17-year-old. I'm gonna criticize the 17-year-old if they're making millions of dollars and have without a doubt. Like either he's too young to sign a multi-million-dollar contract, and you're saying that he's exploited by Adidas. They took advantage of this child and gave him all this millions of dollars, and he should stay home and run domestically and probably not even run the Worlds this year. Or no, we're going to fly him to Monaco to run a JV race. This is a joke. This should not be allowed. No.
All right. The sponsorship thing, you do have a point there, because he's a professional athlete. And if you're a professional athlete, that like when you turn pro, that's kind of like it does change things and change expectations. I don't know. I don't think it's the biggest travesty in the world. I would have liked to see it. I think he would have done fine. He would not have finished last. He certainly, ability-wise, belonged in the top section. He ran 20.10 into a 1.9 headwind. That's about 1993 with in still conditions if you use the conversions. Yeah. Would it be, as a fan? 100%. I want him in that race, but I'm just not going to get totally outraged about them trying to manage expectations for a 17-year-old.
I hope Monaco is probably trying to get in his good graces so when he's a big star, he'll come back. To me, it's just angry. Wait, is this a joke? Like, first, if you're listening live on YouTube, X, Facebook, type in the chat what you think. Should he run the varsity race or the JV race? It appears that we've gotten a $50 tip. Well, is that legitimate?
That's legitimate from Jammin King. Like, Jammin was a famous Let's Run message board poster. I haven't seen him posting under his real name recently. Maybe he's back. And also, is it Jammin or Jamin? Let's get the official pronunciation. Put back in there in the chat. Jammin, as a reward, that money will go to Jonathan Galton. He will answer your question, next question, no matter what it is. He has to answer it. If he wants to evade the answer somehow, you answer it. I guess I don't have to. Well, I guess that means
depends on the question. I'll answer a reasonable question for $50. If it's something I don't want to answer for $50, I won't.
Then you just say I'm not going.
I won't take the money. Yeah, but if it's a reasonable question, I'll answer.
Being a media member, we now should know how athletes know how to not answer your questions. But Robert's also here promoting our store. Go to shop.letsrun.com. We have traditional letsrun.com shirts. There we go. There's the beautiful long sleeve. We also have Graham Blank shirts. We also have, I think there might be some Parker Wolf shirts left. Robert's gone. Let's see what he's coming back here with.
Okay, are we going to mention the American record today, people? 1,000 meter race. They looked like they were targeting the world record in this one. I think they actually ended up going out a little bit too aggressively. But Jessica Hall wanted it, and the world record, as a reminder, is 228.98. They were right around on pace for, I think, through 800. I'm looking 158.41 through 800. So, okay, they were on pace. They couldn't quite get it. I think Nelly Kejelcha, who had been running really well on the Diamond Leagues while the likes of Hall and Kip Yegon were off doing other things, she was just kept winning these races. She's also a 157.800 runner. So you would think this is a pretty good event for her. And she paced it quite well. She was a little bit less, she was with the leaders, but a little hung back a little bit, then makes her move on the last lap and really ended up winning this fairly convincingly by almost a second. She definitely dropped Hull. Addy Wiley also went out aggressively, and I was kind of worried that what she often does, she'll go out aggressively and then just run out of steam. That didn't really happen. She got dropped by Kejelcha, but Kejelcha is in great form. Wiley hung on for second, looked pretty good in the home straight. 230.71 for Wiley to Kejelcha's 229.77. Wiley already had the American record from last year at 231.49, but she took a nice chunk off of that. So she, going into the USA, she is in a good spot. She's the US leader in the 800. She just coming off a great race. Hull third in 230.96. And then another American running well, Sinclair Johnson, 231.30. She just raced at Pre on Saturday. So for her to turn that around and come back and run, she ran 356 at Pre and now 231.30, which is number 2 all time, faster than Wiley's old American record. That's really good. So I think both Americans have to be pleased. And then the other person we need to mention here is Mary Marat, who, I just don't understand her races sometimes. Like, does she just not understand pace? Like, what happened here? She went out right on Hull's shoulder through 400, and then by the time they hit like 600, halfway through the race, she just starts falling off. And Hannah England is so on top of it. She's so good in like noticing these things immediately as they happen. She's very good at commentator, but she's just like, Mary Marat is way off the pace. She might not even finish this. And she was saying this when she was still in like 5th place or something. She did end up finishing, but she ran 2:48 for last place by more than 13 seconds. So just a horrendous run by her. She's not in good form right now.
Look, my take on this one, well, Nelly Kejelcha, let me throw up something here on the screen. I guess the winner should get discussed first, but I'm trying to put up here her 22-25 results here. What do you guys see there on the screen? Oh, I see an undefeated season. Now, we've been saying all year, like, she's sort of one to watch. She didn't make the final last year at Worlds in the 1500. She's 157 flat, 1500 meter runner. She's now run 229, and she won the Diamond Leagues in Doha. Rabat wasn't Diamond League event, but she won it, and then she won in Paris. So I think now is the time for her to go up against the big women in this event.
Honestly, I had not been paying attention to her. I know she's been winning these B-level 1500s. I guess some of them one of them was a Diamond League. But just watching her today, it reminded me of one of my favorite Kenyan 1500 meter runners of all time, Kiprop. She's just got that beautiful, tall, like lanky, mid-D body type, right? I know John hates it when I talk about body types, but I'm like, that woman looks like someone who should be one of the world's best in the 1500. So I thought she was spectacular. John earlier was complaining about the Kenyan steeplechasers, and I'm just wondering, is the coaching so bad over there? But then what's changed in the last 20 years? But like the Mary Marat stuff, she's the only woman I've seen go from first to last to first in a race. But these are her 800 meter results. Like, I don't understand like how this could be happening unless she's like anemic or something. Like Grand Slam track, first race, last place, 8th. Now, admittedly, she ran 2:0.97. That's April 4th. A month later, Grand Slam track, first place, 1:59.5. Okay, she's turning around. Grand Slam track, June 1st, fifth place, 205.92. Then she goes to Kenya, wins the Nairobi Police Champs, 205, nothing. Goes to Stockholm, 157. So then you're thinking, okay, she's doing okay. And then she goes ninth at pre and then 248 today. Like it's just up and down, and nothing's been impressive by her standards. But like how I actually though liked how she went out hard. I'm like, she's one of the world's best runners. She should be at the front of this field. But man, I think you slightly just misidentified how Hannah England says it looks like she's not going to finish. And that was,
no, that's what I'm saying. Like it looks like she was casting doubt as to whether she would finish, which was absolutely on the money because she did basically the next worst thing to not finishing is running like 248.
Okay, well, back to Wiley. I mean, I think the only question essentially for her is, you know, it's time to start making teams. She's sort of like this young phenom. She already had an American record. And I think because of, you know, sort of the unfortunate background of her coaches and stuff, her high school coach and the whole situation. And the fact, I guess that I think has limited some of her appeal. And then the fact she still hasn't made it, a major U.S. team yet. So that's all that's missing for her right now.
But I think the problem that she faces is, well, I think the 1,000 may be her ideal distance. Like this is right in her wheelhouse. A lot of people struggle with the 1,000. It's quite far for an 800 pure 800 runner, but for 1,500 meter runner, it's fast. I mean, they were out in like 58.5. Like, what is Jess Hull's 800 PB? And Wiley is, she's been. I mean, I don't think we have any other American. I mean, admittedly, they're not a lot of them are running in NCAAs and stuff, but she's gone outdoors 158 in China for fifth, 157 in Rabat for third. Disappointing at Grand Slam track, 25.93 for sixth. Then 158 in Stockholm, that's only seventh. But she's, a bad race for her is 158.8, which 158.8 is pretty good for our NCAA stars. And then she runs this 1,000. So you think on this, she's definitely making the team, but the 800 is not the same as the 1,500. So,
yeah. Right after I said that, if it's time for her to make teams, and then you took away my point, what event? I don't think she runs the 15. I think she tries to go on the 8.
I don't think she'd make the 1,500 team. I don't think she's beating Sinclair Johnson in a 15. I don't think she's beating Nikki Hiltz in a 15.
Right.
And I don't think she's beating Mackay in a 15. And Heather McLean might beat her as well. Like the 800 is her best shot. And she's looking good right now for a spot in the team. But I wouldn't call her a lock. I mean, you've got Nia Akins, I think at her best beats her. Raven Rogers is back in good form, so she's going to be, in the mix. Athing Mu's a total wild card, but would it stun me if Athing Mu beats Addy Wiley? No. And then you've got the college women as well. So, yeah, I think she's in a good spot going into USA's, but she's not a lock. And the other thing about last year, she didn't make the final at the trials. I think she was sick and maybe might have had some injury or whatever, but she did run 156 after the trial last summer. So the ability is there. Like certainly she has the ability to win USA's, but it's not a given, right?
Those you watching live, she leads the U.S. list at 157.55. Michaela Rose, it's still, we didn't talk about this. It stunned me that she was rabbiting the pre-classic 800. I couldn't tell. It was hard to see the pacing lights of pre because it was the middle of the day. Like, did she do a good job of that? Because they didn't go with her. 158.12, Rosie and Willis, 158.13. Nikki Hiltz won't be running it. 158.23, Raven Rogers, 158.49. I mean, there's just a ton. I mean, there's 8 women. There's 7 women. Wiley's run 157. There's 7 women that have run 158. And none of those women are named Nia Akins or Athing Mu. So, I could I see like a Michaela Rose? Yeah. It's not a lock, but I would be at this point be surprised if she doesn't make the team.
I think you might even give her too much credit, Robert. But earlier I had up. I mean, her best event just definitely is 1,000, and maybe we shouldn't. I'm putting up the all-time list in 1,000. She's now number 8 all-time in the world at 1,000 meters, but that doesn't really mean anything. And also, you said it's a different event. Like, 1,500 to the mile, same event. 800 to 1,000, they're different events. 1,000 to 1,500, different event. So right now, this is her sweet spot. TBD, what happens for her the rest of the year.
Do we want to hit some sprint talk real quick?
No, we've skipped one event. We talked about people not finishing races. The men's 5,000 meters goes off the stacked field. We have Kejelcha, Gebrhiwot, and our podcast guest Almgren of Sweden in there. I'm not sure what the pacing lights were at.
12:40.
Yeah, they're 12:40. They're right on the lights. And I think a little after 3K, like, Kejelcha does what he does. He decides to, like, Rabbit's gone. He decides to increase the pace. He runs closer to 60 instead of 61. And I was shocked. It just, like, blew the whole damn thing up. He starts pulling away. Everyone else starts falling behind. And then next thing you know, like, Almgren's in second place and drops out of the race while in second place. It's kind of crazy. They're like, oh, he's looking over his shoulder, and then he was completely out of it. You don't see that, very often. A guy like doing very well, coming off that 12:44 he ran in Stockholm. This is his first race since then. And he said, as he said in our podcast, it was a great talk. If you guys want to hear from, like usually we talk to more of the Americans, but sort of how a Swedish runner's doing it, how he went from being, world class in 800 to a 5K runner. But he said one thing he's going to do this year is race less. So this is one of his last big opportunities before he sort of bunkers down. Does, I think, Swedish nationals and the Swedish Finland race and gets ready for Worlds. But this wasn't what he wanted. Kejelcha's then just way ahead. Can kind of coast in the last lap. He ran out of steam for sure, but the times were so uneventful. It's sort of crazy how fast people are. Maybe the heat or something. I just would expect everyone across the board to run a little faster than they did today.
Yeah, me too. And I think there's a couple things into that. I mean, one of the best guys dropped out, Almgren. Source in his camp said it was a hamstring cramp. So he's got to be careful. He is, north of 30 and the world's is the big thing. So you don't want to exacerbate any injuries. And then Gebrhiwot, who I would have tell him about, the Ethiopians, I thought, okay, this is a chance to run fast and try to get a world's qualifier. Hagos, Gebrhiwot, and Telhun Bekele just could not hang with the pace at all. They end up 7th and 8th, 12:58, 12:59, well back. So just not a good day for them. And then the rest of this, Jacob Kropp, his last couple races have been terrible. This is a 2-time world's medalist, 12:45 guy. Like, I don't know what's going on with him. Like, a lot of the, and then the guys who I think could be up there, Mahari withdrew because he just ran the 10K trials in Eugene on Saturday. Same with Barega. He was never entered in this race. So they weren't there. And neither was Aragawi. So those are 3 of Ethiopia's top guys who weren't in there. Americans, there were no Americans, so no Fisher or anything, no Nico Young, no blanks. So they went in there. There's a big gap from Kejelcha. Like, no one else ran faster than 12:53. The last few years, 12:53 isn't anything special in the Diamond League. So I think, you look at the guys who are in there. Gressier, he's decent. Bahanu Balu, Mohamed Abdullahi, Etienne Daganos. Like, the Ethiopians didn't run well, and then Kropp's been in bad form, and the rest of the field wasn't that great. I guess Labalu, I thought, could run faster too. So some of the big guys just aren't running well right now. I don't know why.
Gebrhiwot was the surprise for me today. Just not really a factor. And I got the lap splits up there on the screen. So, like, lap 8, 60. They're all 61s until lap 8. 60.47, 60.35. I mean, that's the crazy thing people don't realize. At this level, essentially, like, guys are just right up on it. A lot of the guys who aren't like leading the race. And it's such a fine line. You think, oh, 61.60, no difference. No. From 61.2 to 60.4 and 60.3 the next lap, that completely cracked the field. And he had like a, 40-yard margin, John? Maybe more?
Yeah.
I mean, it was crazy. Then he slows 62 and 65 the last 2 laps for Kejelcha. Look, big picture, this race means nothing to me. Or it just sort of kind of reiterates what I know. Kejelcha, he can always
not to me. This is big to me.
Okay, let's hear why. Let me continue my thing first. Kejelcha can run fast. He can't run fast when it matters. I have no more confidence that he'll be able to do that after now. Almgren, this was a step backwards. Could he be a factor at Worlds in a 10K in a fast race or something? I guess, but the 10K is going to be pretty wide open this year, I think. I think that may be more of his focus. Could he be a factor in the 5? He figures it out, sure, whatever. But like, Robert, why was this a big revelation for you?
Well, it just Kejelcha. I mean, Tim Hutchings said it best. Like, this guy, he's amazing at the 5,000. There's very few people on planet Earth that can do what he does. And I know that the point of the thing is to either set a world record or win a medal, which he rarely does. But I love watching him run, but I feel bad for him. I'm like, how does this guy not medal? He goes through in 7:39. That's way faster than what they were hitting those other races. Wasn't it 7:45 and 7:48, John, or was it 7:42 and 7:45?
It's like 7:42.
And then he picks it up. And then he's got like a 30, 40 meter lead. And then he fades just like he did in the other one and holds on for the win. But what I'm wondering is, take a look at this. Is this guy even going to go to Worlds? Like, when he had a Western coach, he medaled. When he doesn't have a Western, who's coaching him now? Like, who's coming up with these race plans? And that's the thing. I think these guys don't make huge contracts. They need to race to get some money. But he's 4th on the Ethiopian list. Mahari 12:45, Kuma Gurma 12:46, Hagos 12:46, Kejelcha 12:47. So him fading to 12:49 may have been quite significant because he faded to like 12:50 the other day. He's not in the top 3, so I assume he's not going to Worlds right now. And so he's going to have to go run another 5,000. I think he's extremely confident in his fitness, but he keeps doing this, and it's like, man, let me coach him. Let me get some rich guy to give him 500 grand so he doesn't have to race all the time. And like, how does he not win more medals?
Well, my takeaway from this is, if I'm an American, if I'm Nico Young or Graham Blanks or Grant Fisher, I'm licking my chops because no one ran really very well today apart from Kejelcha, and we know his championship history is tortured. And look at the Ethiopian team right now in the 5,000. I guess it's okay. Mahari, you're going to have to worry about that guy. Gebrawet, not in good form. And Kumagoma, who is young guy, talented, but pretty unproven. Like, and then the rest of the world, I mean, this race wasn't the strongest, but I'm just thinking like, okay, we've got a really good shot, and Jakob's been injured. So if Jakob comes back and he's ready for Worlds, I think he's still the favorite, but I think the medals are there for the taking for the Americans with the way the Ethiopians and basically with the way the event has gone this year. I think all three, like Young and Fisher, are a better position than Blanks to do it, but I think those guys are have a really good spot to get a medal this year.
Is anyone surprised Kejelcha didn't run the 10 at Prix last week?
I was surprised by that, yeah.
Just literally makes no sense to me. I just figured he has the mile world record. He had the mile world record indoors, and he had the half marathon world record. The 10K is right in his wheelhouse, and he must not like running it on the track or something. I'm not sure. And then my other thought is, like, looks like his agents in Spain maybe shouldn't have the contacts. That guy should have been over backwards to get some of that Grand Slam track money. Oh well, Michael,
He might not have gotten the money.
Pay the money. Pay the money. I'm still holding out hope. There's talk of the money being paid this fall.
How are we talking? This was a 2-hour meet, and we've been talking for over an hour about it. But I do have some information. This is the Friday 15. By the way, if you want this on demand, join the supporters club. Watch.com/subscribe. Received a text. Well, John actually received the text. He sent it to me. It's a WhatsApp message. A social media post saying that Mahari was out of this race because he wants to write history on the 5,000 and 10,000 at Worlds, according to his coach. John asked this person, "Hey, do you know why Mahari's English is so good?" Yes, it's quite impressive. He's from a rich, or actually not a super poor family, and was sent to a good school. It's commonly, and also general athletes from his region, Tigray, tend to speak better English than others, as the region received international U.S. support as their leaders replaced the former communist government 30 years ago. But this U.S. support doesn't matter if you're too poor to go to school. And then P.S., by the way, it's commonly admitted in Ethiopia that he's at least 3 to 4 years older than what's written on his passport. So on his passport, he is born in 2006. So instead of being 18, he's 21.
Okay. Well, you answered your own question. How are we going way over on a 2-hour meet? Because you're talking about the birthday of a guy who didn't even compete today. Couple
that's
other
interesting. And that's information you're only going to get on LetsRun.com.
It is interesting. Yeah. And we got more of it coming on our regular podcast next Tuesday as well. Yeah, actually a couple big American meets this weekend. The Sunset Tour in Los Angeles and the Ed Murphy Classic in Memphis, where Athing Mu and Sidney McLaughlin and Levroni are racing. Like, this is essentially, if you're a US-based runner and you're not in Monaco, this is your last hit out, your last chance to do something before USA. So we'll break those races down on Tuesday. In terms of Monaco stuff, there were 2 other races I wanted to highlight. Well, I guess 3. We'll just run through them real quick. Femke Bol hit a world leader in the 400 hurdles, 51.95. Dalila Muhammad, 52.58, age 35, one of the few athletes in the sport older than me. She ran her fastest time in almost 4 years. This was her fastest time since the Olympic final in 2021, that great duel with Sidney McLaughlin and Levroni. So this is her farewell year. She's looking like she might be able to make it back on the podium. Great job by her. Flat 400, Paulino almost got beaten by American Aaliyah Butler, who was wearing a pro kit. So I don't know if she's turned pro. She's still got eligibility at Georgia. She was the NCAA champion this year, but she runs 49.09. She was ahead of Paulino for almost the whole home straight. Paulino had to dig deep, got the win, 49.06. Really good run for Butler, a lot faster than what she ran, 49.8 at pre. And I was thinking, all right, it's been long collegiate season. I can understand that. To come out and run a PB in July, really good run for her. And then the 100 for the second week in a row, Julian Alfred ran 10.7 into a big headwind. 10.79 today, which converts to a 10.69 in still conditions. It was a wind of 0.1. It was of 1.4. So if she had a friendly wind in either of the last 2 races, Alfred would have been in the 10.6s most likely and would be freaking out. I know she lost to Jefferson Wooden, but the message I'm taking away is Julian Alfred's in even better form right now than she was when, last summer, and she ended up winning the Olympics. So the women's 100 should be great at Worlds. Can't hear you, Weldon.
The wind makes such a difference in the sprints. I mean, obviously we all know that, but we do react to times. And that's no more evident than that Messiah Russell, she ran, 12.17 earlier this year. But she had a 2.0 wind, and Tia Jones ran 12.19. I mean, Russell hasn't even come close to that since then. I think she's missed some time, but today she was running 12.57. But a huge favorable win. I mean, compared to a slow win, we should put it in a calculator. 1.4 favorable. What this could have been.
I did. It's a 10.69. Well then.
10.69. I'm shocked it wouldn't have been faster. 1069, no, that's a 0 wind.
Still conditions, yeah. Plus 2.0 wind. I mean, like maybe 10.5.
Stall for
I mean,
time, John. I'm trying
you
to figure
take
it
these
out.
with a grain of salt, but yeah, I mean, look in the women's 100 hurdles as well. Megan Tapper tied her PB, Olympic medalist from 2021. She ran 12:34. That was into a 1.1 win today. So you reverse that wind, you're well into the 1220s. It does. Obviously, it means a lot. I feel like the Monaco, it's kind of weird. Monaco's it's pretty enclosed. I know they do have that one open end of the stadium, but so maybe it's not that enclosed. I was kind of surprised the winds weren't that helpful today, but so it goes. All in the game is saying it's a 10:59 with a 2.0 wind. So
yeah, that's what I'm getting too. But imagine if she ran 10:59 today, we would have flipped out, right?
Yeah.
Instead, we're like, oh, she smoked everyone. I mean, she won this race by, I think, like 0.3 or something. Let me pull it up here. Yeah, 10:79 for the win. Kejelcha Spears 11:02, so 0.23. I mean, she just smoked everybody.
Well, Sia's had the lead through like 60 or almost like about halfway. Like Sia started like a rocket. I was like, ooh, she ran the B section at pre last week. Can she challenge her? And then Alfred just totally destroyed her the second half. No, I mean, Kejelcha Spears, that's a pretty solid run for her as well. 11:02 into a headwind. Okay. Thank you everyone for tuning in.
No. What is my favorite thing, John?
Going to treadmill and running like 9-minute pace.
How dare you?
10-minute pace.
Double dare you. Talk about obscure national records.
Oh, right.
This isn't obscure. This is a major European country. It's now being. Well, am I going to get mad if I can say that the Islamification?
Robert, come on. Let's just stay on topic. Let's go.
I wanted to make a joke about the Islamification of Europe, but hey, this guy was born in Germany, and he's had quite the year. Somali descent. Mohammed Abdullahi, 12:53.63 in the men's 5,000 for Germany. Congrats to him. He's fourth place. I mean, coming into the year, he ran 13:06 indoors in Boston at BU. But his PB coming into the year was 13:03. So this was a big PB for him.
Well, this was a long-standing German record. It was 12:54 set in 1997 by former Olympic champion Dieter Baumann. So, yeah.
Who famously did serve a drug suspension.
Also known as Dieter the Cheater. I have no idea if he cheated, but he did serve a doping suspension.
Okay, that's about it. But I do want to give out, if there's any Supporters Club members listening live.
Wait, I want John to tell me how many sub 10.6s there's ever been in the women's 100 meters.
2. There's 10:49, Flojo's world record, and 10:54 by Elaine Thompson-Herrera at the 2021 Pre-Classic.
Okay.
That is correct. And remember, everyone, Flojo's record with the 0.0 wind.
Yeah.
0.0.
How do I get my face on there, Weldon?
Just like Bluto Blutowski's GPA at the full semester of Faber College.
I have a new unofficial Let's Run shirt with a small logo in the left-hand corner. My wife likes this shirt much better than our actual big logo. See, our original shirts look like the singlet and how we used to have the name across the chest. This is tiny, kind of like a business logo in the left-hand corner. My wife way prefers this better. And it's got a special thing here in the lower left-hand corner. This is, if you wear eyeglasses, you can clean your eyeglasses. John thinks this is great for him because he wears eyeglasses. Some guy, I haven't even emailed this guy. I got these in the mail about a month ago from Clean Tea Factory. He sent me like 30 shirts to try out. The first Supporters Club member listening live right now that emails me.
Well, what the hell?
Robert at letsrun.com will get it. So you just put your Supporters Club name in there. And then once I get this confirmed, you will win the shirt.
I think Jamin gets a shirt. He put a $50 in the chat.
He definitely does. Jamin, email me, Robert at letsrun.com. You can get one as well. Has any Supporters Club members emailed me already? I don't like checking my email. I don't want to be checking it all night.
Okay.
All right, guys. I think that's it. I'm very curious what Athing Mu does. Instead of going just driving down the road to the Sunset meet, she's flying out to Tennessee. Not how I do it, but I wouldn't do it ever probably how Bobby Kersey does it. That's why I'm sitting here talking to you instead of out there coaching.
Now, we need predictions. What do you
Football,
want to see?
international soccer is dead, but track and field is alive, ladies and gentlemen. Can I sign off, or does Robert want to say one more thing?
No, what do you want to see from Athing Mu? It's easy to say after the fact. We were expecting this. Oh, wow! They both sent the email at the same time, but the 5:33 p.m. But I've got to go the one that comes in first. I mean, this must have been like milliseconds. Linda Wallace has won the free T-shirt. She's beaten Habs for the free T-shirt. Congratulations, Linda.
Congratulations. Yes. All right. Athing Mu, this 800 actually got pretty good at the last minute. Ajay Wilson, Nia Akins, Michaela Rose, Shafiqua Maloney.
Wow.
I didn't remember seeing any of those names on the start list when Mo was entered earlier this week. So she's going to face some good competition. What would be, if she runs 159, I think you would have to be pretty pleased with that, given how awful she looked at the pre-classic. I don't know if she'll do that, but I think that's probably a pretty good day, right? But
she's so good, John. I had 158 in my mind, but then I didn't know these other women were going to be in the race. Just be somewhat competitive. Just be somewhat competitive. If she gets her doors blown off, I think that's it for the season.
Right. Like, she's up against three Americans Wilson, Akins, and Rose, those are going to be three of her top competitors to the team. So if she runs 159, they're all 157, not a great sign. So
no,
but also, look, with her, no one's ruling out she could win this thing, correct?
Not ruling out.
Right. Anyone else who ran whatever 203, I'm writing them off. It's becoming like Alan Webb territory. I just dated myself, but it's must watch. Must watch.
Right. No, we didn't know about this competition, so I wanted to see something under 2. But now I just want to see how competitive she is. But even if she's uncompetitive, I'm probably still not ruling her out. But it's going to be exciting. So we got that. Is that Saturday too, John?
Yeah.
And then the Sunset Tour event with basically every other U.S. pro that's still going, or even U.S. base pro. Like a lot of Kenyans, Brian Musal of Oklahoma State, and Pamela Koska, I think, are running in LA. That's on Runner's Space. How do you watch the Ed Murphy Classic?
I believe FlowTrack is showing it, but I could not find any streaming information when I was looking for it, like on the website. I saw no way to watch this meet. So I think stay tuned. We'll have something on the home. If we can find a way to watch it, we'll link to it on the homepage, but I did not see any streaming information on their website when I checked yesterday.
Supporters Club members, or everyone watching, you want this podcast, join today. LetsRun.com/subscribe. Otherwise, we'll talk to you guys on Monday or Tuesday.